they will see the green flag, and when they pass it here at Road America for the NTT INDYCAR Series, we will be racing. And now we go. Green, green, green is the call, and Louis Foster hugs the inside. Scott McLaughlin goes for the outside line down into turn one, and look at Kirkwood on the move already on the championship leader, Alex Palou.
This is what we talked about, guys. Just because you start up front doesn't mean you always stay there. It's clean through, but Palou is falling all the way down. Now McLaughlin challenging Foster.
7 cars off track as David Malukas loses it and is into the beach, and that will likely leave him there. I seriously doubt he'll be able to get going. And here comes, I think, Alex Palou on Pato Award.
But Foster is having to defend once again from Scott McLaughlin, who is all over the rear wing of the pole sitter. Has a look up the inside, but look at Award on the inside of Kirkwood and on the run up from 5 into the blind at 6.
Palou's going to be under threat here, entering turn 6 as well. He goes defensive. That's Graham Rahal who gets a position now. Your championship leader is falling back. Power's gone around as well.
Everybody knows that Palou wants to protect that championship lead, and they are chewing him up, as I think that's Alexander Rossi getting pretty squirrely back there. But great job from the rookie. Louis Foster holding off massive attacks from waste renters and champions as the caution comes out for Malukas' stranded car. As we ride on board with Rahal, that's Malukas just to the front, to the left. Watch.
Yeah, just goes in with too much speed. You see the front lock up, and he gets into the back of Christian Lundgaard. Guys, remember this pit stop. Scott Dixon started 25th, okay? Not someone we had tagged in the pre-race show. Remember this pit stop on lap 3. This could come into play by the end of this thing if we see the number 9 up at the front.
Pretty big bobble from Louis Foster, and now Scott McLaughlin in the yellow and white XPEL Chevy pops to the outside looking to make a move. It's tough to pull it off, but you can do it if you're brave, and he does.
Goes the long way around and gets it done even before turn-in as Palou on the charge and has a look and has the move on Willpower.
This is Felix Rosenquist looking to make a move on Joseph Newgarden.
As Power has a look to get back past Alex Palou, does it beautiful, and Rosenquist still alongside Newgarden as Lundgaard now on Kyle Kirkwood. And Palou all over the back of Power again. They're going to go too wide on the run down to Canada corner.
Palou and Power at it again, side by side. Power on the inside.
Oh! Both of them past Kyle Kirkwood. Brilliant stuff.
That is a full send like I've never seen before in Canada corner. I'm not sure Power planned to pass Kirkwood. He got in so hot.
Yellow's out. Oh, big one.
Schwartzman.
Oh, he's just lost it on the braking, hasn't he?
Yeah, that one looked like all on his own. Some rear lock. Lundgaard on the button, trying to get Foster.
He's got a great run. He goes way to the inside.
Foster tries to defend, but there's no way of stopping Christian Lundgaard from advancing into second place.
It's a game of chicken into 5.
He crosses him up. If he can get a nose to the inside, he can't. Foster defends very cleverly. That's an important place to defend.
That's a big one for Stingray Rob.
Boom, the 77 Goodhart Chevy into the tires.
Oh.
Got some rear locking. Oh, just a tremendous amount of impact.
Lundgaard went to a set of the hards. Remember, he's still got another sticker set to use later on.
And critically in all of this, Lundgaard has got out ahead of Scott McLaughlin. And Rossi defends to the inside, but look at Lundgaard coming and having a look at VK.
VK also looking very aggressive in terms of defensive moves on Lundgaard.
Now he gets up, pops up into 3.
Oh,
lovely.
McLaughlin.
Can McLaughlin go with him? He doesn't want to lose touch with the number 7 of Christian Lundgaard. Now he's right on his gearbox. He's boxed in, nowhere to go, dropping wheels in the dirt.
Scott McLaughlin, 2 wheels on the grass, drops back, and VK should be able to take that position back again as Newgarden comes under pressure from Palou, who has to duck out of it.
This is where it's so crucial as the 3 of McLaughlin has to go running through the dirt. VK goes by, now side by side with Power.
Oh, big.
180 miles an hour off for Power as Newgarden gets by, and there's more contact further back with Kirkwood.
Kirkwood having a look up the inside of Will Power, shows him his elbows and says, that's for last time.
How about that, Will Power?
Here's the problem, guys. That was small time thinking because Palou got around the 27. That's the guy he needs to beat.
Palou wants to get past Newgarden and is all over his rear wing once again. This is a track on which Penske, though, have been so strong in history. Newgarden 2 wins to his name. Palou 2 wins to his name. Has the inside line, has the run. Will Abel get in the way? You know what? Newgarden bumps out and gets ahead and holds that position. But now Palou to the inside, little puff of grass.
Wow, that's aggression from Palou I didn't expect.
Joseph just way long on the brakes. Scott crossing him up.
Yeah, Newgarden has to go Baja style back onto the track, and it just hands Alex Palou an easy position as we get another look at the teammates battling. And then later on, going into Canada corner, Palou with a brilliantly executed move.
Connor Daly in the 76.
It's not been a good day for Connor Daly as he goes skidding off into the gravel trap in turn 5.
As we see what happened there, just unable to slow the car down.
That was a bit Will Power-ish.
Lundgaard leads the field and Kirkwood goes with him, has a great run out of 14, tucked up in his slipstream on the run down to turn 1. Lundgaard goes to defend, but Kirkwood will want to make the move immediately on the restart, and Lundgaard knows it. Kirkwood trying to go the long way round at turn 1. Oh, that's lovely from Carl Kirkwood, but he goes wide. Can he keep the lead that he's only just taken as Lundgaard is 2 wheels on the grass, but inside and makes it back through? Wonderful side-by-side racing between these two. Joseph Newgarden's day is done.
Turn 14 had been a challenge all weekend long, and this was one of the things we've seen. You get wide, the car sometimes bottoms out over the curb, and if you're already kind of catching a bit of a loose moment, it could just send it around, and unfortunately went all the way to the wall.
So Herta side by side with Lundgaard. There's no contact. Lundgaard just gets over the bumps, lights it up, and loses it on the way up the hill, and that's what caused Kirkwood to go off to avoid him. Lundgaard loses it, evasive action and through for Carl Kirkwood.
Scott Dixon might be the best ever at saving fuel, but this is a big ask. Seems highly unlikely without a short caution to be able to get home, but that's all that it would take, and then he's on level playing field with everyone else. Can they go a couple more laps, be able to get it done on just one final stop?
There's Scott Dixon, who will also be having to try and save to the end, and Dixon gets out ahead of Palou.
Few softs going on Kyle Kirkwood's machine.
Nice stop from MSR, nice stop from Andretti, but where do they come out in relation to all of their rivals on track?
Well, they'll come out behind Alex Palou, but ahead of Ferrucci. But now, fascinating, because Palou will have to save. Rosenqvist can push. Who's going to win this thing? Scott Dixon, as expected, short and coming to pit lane for a splash and dash. This should mean that Palou can make it because he was 2 laps to the good and there's 2 laps at the line.
Alex Palou, championship leader, wins again. It's 6 from 9 in 2025.
Up next, it's the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, Sunday, July 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Welcome to episode number 85 of the Push to Pass podcast. I am Derik Vance. I will be bringing in both of the other co-hosts here shortly, but what a exciting and action-packed show that we have for you this evening. First and foremost, obviously, we are going to talk about what we just witnessed there in the opening show opener there, and also this past Sunday at the XPEL Grand Prix at Road America. Obviously, we're going to analyze, discuss, and recap that. We'll go over, as we do every race, my 5 takeaways, also go through some driver interviews. Results. We'll show you the up-to-date point standings. I know I explained, I think last week or a week before that. Michael does do a column as well of winners and losers. We'll have him go over those, and then we will reveal our race picks of who we thought was going to be the highest finisher on Sunday, and then we'll see who's in the lead as we dwindle down. I think it's just a handful of races left, if you can believe that, in the 2025 NTT INDYCAR season. Also, too, at the bottom half of hour number one, host of the Orange Flag podcast, Nicole is going to join us to discuss how she got into racing, how she got into podcasting, and then she will talk about what she witnessed and thoughts on the race on Sunday. And then right before we drop the green flag on this episode, we'll go over some news and notes, some interesting bits of news, and a little bit of controversy that was drummed up this week. But before we get into any of that, let me bring on the other two co-hosts that make up the Push to Pass podcast. I know both of them are staying inside because if you're keeping up with the temperatures here in central Indiana, it is a scorcher to say the least. But first and foremost, Josh, how are you this evening?
Fantastic. Can't wait. Sorry I missed last week. But you guys held it together, and we're chugging towards the end of the season. We've only got like you said, a handful of races, and not sure if we're going to have any anticlimactic finishes at the end for the championship, but we're definitely going to see some good racing.
Yeah, definitely hopefully that points championship can tighten up a little bit. But like we said, the way Alex Palou performs week in and week out on Sunday, that remains to be seen. Michael, I know you are living the life over there, dodging the four-legged creatures. But other than that, how are you this evening?
Yes, found a mouse in the house yesterday. Well, I didn't find it. My wife found it, and I got I need you to get home immediately phone call because both of us are terrified of mice. So, yeah, we have found one. Luckily, it was dead. That's what's going on over here. We're definitely trying to get rid of those creatures here in the house because we don't want any of those crawling around in the middle of the night, playing with the dog. And yeah, so that's just been the chaos happening here.
All right, so you've got your rodent problem taken care of for the most part. To hopefully, I guess the company comes tomorrow to get that taken care of. But let's get into recapping again what we witnessed, what we watched this past Sunday at Road America at the XPEL Grand Prix of Road America. Obviously, we're going to get into my 5 takeaways. If you're new to the show, I give my 5 takeaways from each race. Josh and Michael, throw in their 2 cents on that as well, and anything else that they want to expand on when it comes to that takeaway. You can also find them on our Push to Pass WordPress site, or if you go over to yournews.com. Under the auto racing section, not only can you find articles written by myself, but Michael posts his winners and losers there weekly as well. So getting into the first takeaway from the race, I think it's been for the last few weeks. Fellas, has to be growing over at Chevrolet. I mean, Josh, you are a baseball fan, as am myself. 0 for 9. In baseball terms, that is called a slump. But it seems like at Chevrolet, it means more, and they've shown it in the last 3 seasons. It's meant so much more. They are, if you don't know, the reigning and 3-time defending Indian engine manufacturer champions. But I think this year, them trying to pull off the 4-peat might be on life support. after Sunday's race again, as we witnessed there. A Honda, for the 9th time, beat them to the checkered flag. A Chevrolet now sits 183 points behind with just 7 races left in the season. So, Josh, Michael, want to get your thoughts on the struggle, the slump that the Chevrolet is in, and are they going to be able to dig themselves out? Heck, are they going to be able to score a win this season?
Well, I know it's got to be a disappointing season for Chevy so far that they haven't been able to pull off a win, but they have to look at the fact that they don't have Palou driving for them. Palou has 6 of the 9 wins this year, and he is just on a tear as we've seen. You know, he kind of cooled off a little bit after the 500 with a couple races afterwards, but he picked right back up where he was back in May and picked up a win this week. So, I mean, as much as Chevy is probably kicking themselves trying to figure out why exactly they don't have a win this year, they can kind of take a little bit of solace in the fact that they don't have Palou driving for them, and that that he's just dominating so far this year.
Yeah, Chevy's definitely not having a fun time. Just looking up some stats on that. The last time, I mean, since 2012, when Chevy re-entered the IndyCar Series, they have won a race every season. So for them not to have a win so far, it's pretty alarming. We do have some ovals coming up, and Chevy does have very good oval drivers. So I don't suspect Chevy not to win a race this year, but the way it looks, I wouldn't be shocked if they don't win a race this year as well.
Yeah, Chevrolet again does have, like Michael said, some ovals coming up, but they're running out of time. The hourglass is getting a little by little not in their favor with just 7 races left to go. My fourth takeaway, or second takeaway from Sunday's race, has to do with a specific driver and a specific team, Joseph Newgarden and Team Penske. If the season, fellas, has not been long enough for Joseph Newgarden and Team Penske, their results on Sunday proved that their season has now just gotten longer. As we witnessed on lap 30, Newgarden, the number 2 PPG Team Penske Chevrolet, ends up making contact in turn 14, which ultimately ended his race and forced him to finish 25th. Got to be a whirlwind season for Newgarden if you look at what he has or has not accomplished this season. Newgarden has only mustered 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, 3 DNFs, which I think surprised a lot of people. And Newgarden has only led a total of 27 laps. He finds himself 17th in points with 137, and that's 249 behind current leader Alex Palou. So fellas, this has to be a nightmare type season for Joseph Newgarden, and I imagine one that he didn't envision coming into 2025.
Definitely. I mean, last year he had he had the second win at the 500, and he won some other races. He's been a monster on the ovals, and it just seems like this year is just not his year. He one thing right after another, whether it be the scandals, whether it be, making contact with the wall. I mean, 3 DNFs for a driver of his caliber is just it's mind blowing to me, and I don't know what he needs to do. I mean, this year's obviously lost for the championship. He's not gonna make up those points. I mean, he may be able to maybe scrounge out a top 10 if he can have these last couple races if these last couple of races, if he can figure out a way to finish high and maybe win one, he can eke out a top 10. But it's definitely going to be an off season of going back to the drawing board and figuring out what Joseph Newgarden needs to do to be able to compete for a championship next year.
Derik, we talked about it last week. Leadership, it's missing. The whole Team Penske organization. You watch that video we just watched of the highlights of the race. All three Team Penske drivers were in desperation mode, and it seems that way since the Indy 500 scandal. You've seen Newgarden, wreck it. You've seen Power just dive bombing people. McLaughlin and Newgarden were dive bombing each other. It's crazy. McLaughlin was off the track a few times. So we're going to add another word. We need leadership at Team Penske, and there's desperation at Team Penske. And I think that comes from also the Chevrolet part of things too. So a lot of chaos going on over at Team Penske, and it will be interesting to see what happens going forward with that organization.
Yeah, Michael, I think that's a fantastic point. There's chaos and there's upheaval. And obviously, it starts at the top. And I think you're right there where leadership has obviously been, flipped on its head right before the Indianapolis 500 and then following it. So a lot of changes and a lot of growing pains, I think, are over at Team Penske these days. Takeaway number 3, and I think this is huge. This is huge for this driver, and Josh, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about in the terms I use. I'm going to use a betting term here that Santino Ferrucci lately has been on a heater in the last couple races, and obviously it continued on Sunday, which a great video we'll have at the end to show, which shows off the personality, which is what we want to see from drivers, specifically Santino Ferrucci. But he was able to save enough fuel to land on the podium for a third-place finish behind the wheel of the number 14 Sexton's Properties AJ Foyt Racing Chevrolet. Ferrucci started 18th, and he was able to score his 4th consecutive top 5 finish for AJ Foyt Racing. So Santino Ferrucci turning the corner, and what a heater, Josh, using betting terms, Santino Ferrucci has been on lately.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's showing a lot of skill, a lot of promise this season, and AJ Foyt Racing have got to be able to in this off season figure out a way that they can put the right equipment together so he can run for a championship next year, and he can start collecting some wins here and there. Because I could see he's on a rocket ship, and the only place he's going is up.
It's actually a team I highlighted in winners and losers. You talk about Santino Ferrucci, and how successful he's been this year. I think this is the best team as far as driver relationship there is right now. You look at David Malukas as well. Put it in the gravel trap lap 1, comes back to finish 7th. We talked about it in previous episodes, both those cars being built now in Speedway, Indiana, all that information being shoveled in from Team Penske that they're getting. These cars are only getting better. The drivers are great. These guys are showing how good they are on road and street courses. And we have a lot of ovals coming up, and both of them are absolutely phenomenal on ovals. So, we talk about Chevy needing a win. This team and AJ Foyt Racing could be the golden ticket for Team Chevy to get a win this season.
And what a narrative and what a story that would be around the paddock, Michael, if it's AJ Foyt Racing that picks up Chevy's first win of the season, not Team Penske, not Arrow McLaren, but AJ Foyt Racing. So definitely something to watch with 7 races left to go. Our second to last takeaway from Sunday's race is what a strong performance from the Meyer Shank Racing camp. This has to be what Michael Shank envisioned when he hired both Felix Rosenquist and Marcus Armstrong, this past offseason. Rosenquist in the number 60 Sirius XM Honda brought home a second place finish. And if you've been looking at the points, fellas, he is quiet as a church mouse, no pun intended, Michael, climbed up to 4th in the points standings. This was Rosenquist's first podium finish in a points-paying race since he finished 2nd in September 2023 at the Portland International Raceway. Now, for Armstrong, in the number 66 Spectrum Honda, drove to a top 5 finish, his first of the season. And collectively this year, both Armstrong and Rosenquist have totaled 5 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and have led 23 laps total. So what a strong performance going forward for Meyershank Racing on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm impressed with this team. The kind of flip around from last year where they had Bloomquist in the car, then they put Castroneves in the car, then they had Malukas in the car. It's been incredible to see, Armstrong come in and Rosenquist be that kind of leader in that team. And also, it's not overly shocking because they're getting information from Chip Ganassi Racing, who's won 6 of the 9 races this year with Palou. So all those cars are working very well together as an organization, and you actually started seeing that really come about at Indy. You could kind of with those garages and everything so close together, you could see how well those teams work together, and they're just building and building. So yes, Meyershank Racing is definitely a team that's kind of a sleeper team that we'll see kind of grow.
Yeah, definitely. I like seeing some of the, quote unquote, less smaller teams that aren't the big ones be able to come in here and and have some success. So I'm all for it. Anything that can bring more competitive balance to the circuit is always good in my book, and can't wait to see how they finish out the year.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you on those points about Meyershank Racing. My last takeaway, fellas, I want you to stop me if you've heard this before, but sweet number 6 for Alex Palou. What can you say? Sweet number 6. It doesn't matter if Palou is driving for NTT Data, DHL, or the new sponsor for this past weekend, Solo Cup, which I thought was really cool, and some of the things they did on social media. Kudos to Chip Ganassi Racing, their media team, for that. But again, it doesn't matter who he's driving for. At the end of the day, Alex Palou is going to do Alex Palou things, which only means he's going to put the car he is driving into victory lane. Palou was able to stretch his fuel availability again in the number 10 Solo Cup Chip Ganassi Honda to earn his 6th victory in 9 races this season after collecting another win at the XPEL Grand Prix at Road America. Side note, Palou becomes the first IndyCar driver to take the checkered flag at least 6 times this season, since Will Power did it in 2011, Palou does extend his points lead to 93 over Kyle Kirkwood. What a season Palou has put together. 9 races, 6 victories, 2 poles, 7 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and he has led 169 laps. I know it seems like week in and week out we're pounding the drum again and again for Alex Palou, but fellas, is there anything else that we have not said that can be said about the way Alex Palou drives? And at the end of the day, again, like I mentioned, Alex Palou does Alex Palou things and just puts his car in victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, we've given him all the exploratives we can. Try to say that 5 times fast. That we can. I mean, he's he's a fantastic driver. He was in a slump there, if you could call that a slump, but he popped right out of it and took the winner. And I know there's a big country singer that's up in heaven that was singing a Red Solo Cup song as he crossed over the white line for the finish line for the checkered flag.
Yeah, Pelot does Pelot things. I mean, that's basically all we can say about it. He did make some moves in the race, though, that were not Pelot-like. And I think he can make those kind of moves now because he has the big points cushion. But, he's also safe with them. It's not like he did anything way too outrageous. But looking at it, you talk about it, eight of the 9 races this season, he's finished in the top 10. The only time he didn't finish in the top 10 is when he got crashed out at Detroit, which wasn't his fault. So you look at those situations, I mean, like we've always talked about, he doesn't put himself in bad spots very often, and he doesn't crash cars. So there's going to have to be some sort of mechanical issues for the rest of the field to catch him because he's just too consistent.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Let's step aside from recapping Road America. We'll get back to that here shortly. But let's bring in our guest here. Honored to have her join the show for the first time. She is host of the Orange Flag podcast. You can find that on all of your podcast platforms. Honor and pleasure again to have Nicole join us. Nicole, again, like I said, first and foremost, huge thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day on this Tuesday night to slide over here and join us. New to the show, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Thanks so much, guys, for having me. I am as you guys said, a co-host of the Orange Flag podcast, which we are just an all-around racing podcast. Obviously talk about IndyCar, but also sports cars. I have personally been following racing like all my life. I can't ever remember not having racing on at home. And my dad started bringing me to Formula One races when I was only 13 years old. So that was really my introduction into racing and into just the bug that you catch when you go to a race live.
Yeah, definitely glad that you were able to join us here for a few minutes. I know I was checking out your Twitter feed or X feed, and the account for that is down there at the bottom. But it does seem like, especially this year, that you've been able, as part of the media, to attend a lot of the races. I've seen you were at Road America this past weekend, which we'll talk about. You were in Detroit. I was trying to flash back because I don't remember crossing paths with you at Detroit. I also seen that you were in Indianapolis. Do you have a favorite track in IndyCar that you have been to that sticks out in your mind?
So I've only, as far as IndyCar goes, I've only been to St. Pete, Indianapolis, Detroit, Road America, and Texas Motor Speedway. Road America was such an amazing track, an amazing experience. I want to go back and see other forms of racing there, like, immediately. But I don't know that anything can beat the Indy 500, honestly. I mean, it's so iconic. The atmosphere there is incredible.
Yeah, all three of us are definitely going to be in agreement there with you. Before you came on, we were talking a little bit about Road America and what we witnessed this past weekend. As you just mentioned, you were at Road America this weekend. So kind of give us a recap of boots on the ground, per se, what you seen, what you witnessed, what the crowd was like, because I know the TV numbers came out earlier today, and it's got to be a kick in the pants to Fox Sports on that aspect. But again, you were there in person. Recap your weekend.
So I went with a group of friends and then met up with a second group of friends there. And I always say it's way more fun to go to races with friends. But right from the start, what we did was drive around and visit the campsites and just take in the atmosphere, because Road America is kind of one of those tracks that you camp at, and it's just a weekend long party. So the just atmosphere was crazy. It felt like everybody was just having a blast the whole time. We watched kind of from every part of the track. We went during practice all the way out to Canada Corner, and we're able to see, like, you're able to get so close to the cars at that corner. It's incredible. And then we watched the actual race from turn 5. So all of those crashes with people going straight at turn 5, like, we were right there. That was definitely both, concerning for as you see crashes going on, but exciting. And then kind of on my personal note, one of the things that I like doing when I'm at races is just going around the paddock, talking to other fans, especially young fans, because I remember being a young fan, nervous to go up and ask a driver for an autograph or go up and ask a driver for a picture. And helping, those young kids get that courage up to go and ask. Like, there was a young boy outside of Ganassi that really, really wanted to get Alex Palou to sign something, and Alex was standing right at the barriers, and I'm like, come on, guy, come on, like, you can do it. And he did. And just the excitement on his face when he came back with that paper signed by Palou, it's like, my dad always said when we were going to races when I was younger, like, he didn't get autographs, he didn't get pictures. He took pictures of me with drivers. He helped me get autographs, and he always said that, like, that brought him joy, seeing me happy. And I never understood that until this year, because I've gone to 8 races so far, and I have helped a lot of people meet their favorite driver for the first time. And I understand that now. I understand the joy you get in helping somebody else have a once in a lifetime experience. So that's like the big takeaway for me, was just the crowds and the excitement of the crowds to have those opportunities to interact with drivers.
Yeah, there must have been a decent amount of crowds for the weekend, because, like I said, and we'll talk later in our news and notes section about the TV numbers. But as for the race itself, Nicole, again, Alex Palou doing Alex Palou things, and just being able to save just enough fuel to win his 6th race of the season. Is this, in your mind, points championship, almost a lock for Alex Palou, or do you foresee some type of mechanical failure that he has going forward that may trip him up from winning his 3rd straight championship?
So, full disclosure, I'm a massive Chip Ganassi racing fan. Have been a Scott Dixon fan. Like, he was one of the first drivers I chose to support in IndyCar. So, huge fan of that team. So, do I think Chip Ganassi Racing is going to fail on the operational front? Absolutely not, but that's my extremely biased opinion. Alex Palou is also, like, and I say this as a Dixon fan, a Scott Dixon level driver. And on top of that, he's got 2 legends in his corner with Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti helping him. Like, Scott is his teammate, but he's also said he's mentoring Alex, even though they're competitors. So yeah, I think Alex Palou is inevitable. Like, he is the new GOAT of this sport. Absolutely.
And obviously with what he's done the past few seasons and this year specifically, definitely a tough point to argue with Nicole. Josh, Michael, the other two hosts here on the show, any questions that you have for our guest Nicole, host or co-host rather of the Orange Flag podcast?
Hi, Nicole. Thanks for coming on. You said when you first came on that you were a big F1 fan. What F1 tracks have you been to, and what? I always ask this of every person we have come on. What do you think IndyCar and Roger Penske can do to grow the sport more?
So I have only been to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when F1 was run there, Circuit of the Americas, and Montreal for Formula One. I have not had the opportunity to travel overseas. Um, so yeah, that's kind of a limited compared to, I guess, my travel for IndyCar, IMSA. My F1 travel is a little bit limited. But as far as growing the sport, I think that Roger Penske, I think that IndyCar almost need to not try and follow what Formula One is doing. Like, they need to separate themselves out. I do think that 100 Days to Indy is cool. I think that if they did a Drive to Survive style show, it would be cool, but in a more authentic way, which 100 Days to Indy is more authentic because they're filming it real time. So they can't craft an artificial storyline across the season. I think that continuing with media like that would absolutely help grow the sport, but I think it has to be put on a streaming platform. It has to be on Apple, it has to be on Netflix, it has to be on Hulu, it has to be on something people use. Like, Fox Nation is cool, but I still haven't watched 100 Days to Indy because I need to create a subscription, log in. It's not easily accessible.
Thanks. My only problem with the 100 Days to Indy, it's a great thing, but it focuses all around around the Indianapolis 500. And yes, that's the biggest race, but that is the race that everyone knows about, that everyone's going to tune in to watch. I think that they need to focus more on these other tracks, Thermal, Milwaukee. You got Worldwide Technology. I think that would help out a lot more because people are going to watch the Indy 500. Let's figure out a way to get the viewership up for the other races and that also. But thank you. Michael, you got anything?
Yes, you talk about IMSA, and that's one of the series I really haven't taken to very well. I think the races are way too long for me. I can't stay up that late. But what's been your experience at one of those events? Because I've only been to like a Detroit where they kind of are the companion series events.
So I love sports car racing. I think that it showcases just a completely different breed of talent because of the multi-class aspect of it. So you've got world-class racers racing alongside people that, are lower ranked drivers that, are not going to ever be competing for an overall win, and they all need to figure out how to work together on track and not cause issues. And to me, that's really fun and exciting. I do understand that there's a really high barrier to entry with sports car racing, especially multi-class sports car racing, both because of the length of the races. Like this past weekend, IMSA raced at Watkins Glen. It was a 6-hour race. that's hard for people to sit and watch. It's something that almost has to be on in the background. I attended the Rolex 24 at Daytona this year and camped at the track, was awake for the full 24 hours. I loved that experience, but it's hard to watch a 24-hour race on TV. I mean, I did it for Le Mans. That's obviously World Endurance Championship, but very similar concept to IMSA. I definitely recommend the short form races to people. You know, your Long Beach, your Detroit, those are going to be shorter races that are a lot easier to watch and have a lot more excitement because I guess it's the more traditional strategy. So I heard someone say once that, like, you know, if you're watching IndyCar, F1, you're watching an undercut or an overcut play out over a couple laps. So maybe 5-10 minutes at the most. If you're watching a multi-hour, like, you know, 6, 10, 12, 24-hour race, you may be watching an undercut or an overcut play out over hours, you know, sometimes multiple hours. And that is hard to understand. So, I mean, the short IMSA races are a great way to figure out who the people are, pick your favorite drivers, and follow along with them.
Okay, cool. I will have to check out more of the shorter races just for that info and to learn a little bit more about the series in general. And then last question I have for you. You get to take Doug Bowles' job for a day. What's the biggest change you do for IndyCar?
Ooh. I speed up the new car situation. The current chassis is so dated. The forcing of the hybrid system into a car that was not designed for the hybrid system has been an overall failure on everything except short ovals. So I would do whatever it took to work with the teams, to work with the engine manufacturers, to speed that process up, you know, to next year if possible.
Yeah, I think everyone's looking forward to the new car, and yes, plugging in play pieces is not very good. So we talked to several people high up about the hybrid system.
Nicole, before we go, again, a huge thank you for carving a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to join us. But before I let you go, talk about the work that you do over there at the Orange Flag podcast.
So, like I said, the Orange Flag podcast is me and my two friends, Austin and Aries. We um, came together last year, actually, during Le Mans in a group chat where we were all in a separate chat that was actually IndyCar based. And we were like, we want to talk about 24 Hours of Le Mans. Let's make our own group chat. And realized, hey, we work really well together. Let's try to make a podcast. And you know, decided, hey, let's talk about everything. There doesn't seem to be a podcast out there that touches upon all aspects of motorsport. I mean, we primarily talk about sports cars and IndyCar, but we regularly talk about NASCAR. We regularly talk about Formula One. We talk about MotoGP sometimes. It's just our way of kind of sharing our funny stories, providing our opinions. We really don't hold ourselves up as a news podcast, right? We're not out there trying to compete with the major news podcasts to break stories or to, you know, create the narrative. A lot of it is just us going to races or watching races and talking about funny things we see. We try to make it feel like you're having a conversation with us about what happened last weekend. So hopefully people might check us out. We have a new episode coming out tomorrow, and that'll be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. and we'll link it in obviously all of our socials.
Awesome stuff. Again, Nicole, huge thank you for carving out a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to join us. Definitely look forward to the work that you guys are going to be putting out here in the next few days, you said, and definitely look forward to having you on again soon.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a great night.
You too.
Go check out the Orange Flag podcast. Go check out the work that is being done over there. Definitely worth a follow, worth a like, and huge thank you to Nicole for joining us. Let's step away for a minute. We will thank our sponsors here on the Push to Pass podcast, and then we'll get back into Road America. We got some unfinished business left to attend to that. And we also have some news and notes and a little bit of controversy that I know Michael is chomping at the bit to talk about. But before we get into all of that, again, like I said, huge thank you both to the sponsors that make it possible here on the Push to Pass podcast. First and foremost, Always Ready 1776 for all your patriotic apparel, headwear, and more. Go check out Always Ready 1776, and you can find them on the web at alwaysready1776.com. If you do choose to purchase something there, again, as always, use that promo code PUSH2PASS for 10% off of your order. Also, another huge thank you goes out to Get 'em Associates for all your home design remodeling needs. Remember, it's Get 'em Associates. You can find them on the web as well at getem.com. And again, if you do choose to use their services, you see the promo code down there at the bottom, Push to Pass, for $250 off any design service. Huge thank you both. First to Always Ready 1776 and Get 'em Associates for being proud sponsors of the Push to Pass podcast. All right, getting back into, like we said, some unfinished business when it comes to Road America. This past weekend, I know we went through the 5 takeaways. Let's take a look at the results, and we'll go through them here shortly before we get to driver interviews. Obviously, like we said, winner of the race was Alex Palou, followed by Felix Rosenquist and Santino Ferrucci. Then it was Kyle Kirkwood, Marcus Armstrong, Kiffin Simpson, David Malukas, Nolan Siegel, Scott Dixon, and Renus VK rounded out the top 10. Pole sitter Louis Foster was 11th, followed by Scott McLaughlin, Alexander Rossi, Will Power, Callum Ilott, Colton Herta, Pato Award, Christian Rasmussen, Devlin DeFrancesco, and Graham Rahal rounded out your top 20. Then it was Marcus Ericsson, Connor Daly, rookie Jacob Abel, Christian Lundgaard, Joseph Newgarden, Josh's favorite, Stingray Robb, and rookie Robert Schwartzman rounded out the 27 car field. Switching over to the up-to-date point standings, and again, as the disclaimer that it seems like I always use from week in and week out, I know the points might be hard to read. I'm still trying to find a good site that keeps the championship points up to date and is more readable, obviously, than what is on screen here. But your points leader is Alex Palou, followed by Kyle Kirkwood, Pato Award, Felix Rosenquist, Scott Dixon, Christian Lundgaard, Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, Santino Ferrucci, and Colton Herta round out your top 10. Then it's Marcus Armstrong, David Malukas, Alexander Rossi, Renus VK, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, Joseph Newgarden, Graham Rahal, Connor Daly, and Nolan Siegel make up the top 20. Then it's Robert Schwartzman, Louis Foster, Stingray Robb, Devlin DeFrancesca, Callum Ilott, and Jacob Abel make up the 27 active drivers currently in the points championship race. This past weekend, and fellas, Joy took us to the woodshed. I don't know how other way to put it there. I went with Louis Foster. I thought that was a pretty safe pick. Well, I guess I was wrong there. Josh went with Willpower, and he was out fairly early. Michael went with a safe pick, Graham Rahal, who started in the top 10. But it was Joy, again, kicking our tails, taking Kyle Kirkwood, who was the highest finisher in Sunday's race. So right now, I have 3 wins, and then Josh, Michael, and Joy are bringing up a rear with chins. Fellas, anything you want to say about the results, somebody that surprised you, point standings, or race picks from this past weekend?
Not so much anyone that surprised me. The amount of cars that went off track into that gravel or that sand was just it was seemed like people were slipping, their brakes were failing or something. They just couldn't seem to keep it on track. That's what surprised me the most this past weekend.
Josh, I actually like those kind of tracks where you kind of have that track limits without having to have a judgment call from an official saying, "Oh, you went over track limits." So I actually like that concept on the older road or street courses.
Michael, do you have your winners and losers segment or article ready to go over? Or does the audience have to wait?
No, we can go over those. Although we've talked about half of them, me and you coincide quite a bit. And full disclaimer: I don't read your 5 takeaways until after I've chosen winners and losers, just so there's no crossover. But 90% of the time, we're pretty much on the same page. We talked about Alex Palou. We talked about Meyershank Racing. We talked about AJ Foyt Racing. Those are all in my winners category. Two others that I have in the winner category is Louis Foster, best finish for him out of the Rahal Letterman Lanigan team, and also he sat on the pole, so pretty remarkable for that team, especially the season they've had. And then another driver I continue to put in my winners category, who's top 10 5 of the last 9 races. And that is Rinus VeeKay for Dale Coyne Racing. As much grief as I gave Dale Coyne Racing last year with their dart board and throwing darts at the wall, they've hired Rinus VeeKay, and he's definitely showing what their equipment can do with it, with a good driver that is consistent. And I think that has been the big thing with them this year, is just the consistency with the 2 drivers, with Jacob Abel and Rinus VeeKay. It's made the team be able to mesh more. And you can kind of see that Jacob Abel doesn't have the finishes just yet to show that, but you can tell that the team is building around those 2 drivers really well. Losers, we talked about Penske. I actually put Newgarden outside of the Penske category because of just how dismal his race was. 2 other drivers that really were shocking to me this weekend was Pato O'Ward. Didn't hear much from him this weekend. He was okay in practice, but just in the race, it just wasn't there. And then another one is Christian Lundgaard. What happened to him? We were talking about him competing to challenge Alex Palou not too long ago, right before Indy, right before the month of May. We were talking about Lundgaard. We're a month away from May, and he has now fallen to 6th in points. He was 2nd when we started hyping him up right before Indy. So Lundgaard is definitely going in the wrong direction. And then, sorry, Josh, I have your favorite driver, Stingray Robb, in the losers category this weekend. He made a bad call. He yelled on the radio that he got cut off, and he just made a bad choice on lane. And I think he paid the consequences for that, and put it in the wall. So horrible for him and the team, but yeah, I think he just made a bad call on a decision. And those are the winners and losers for the Road America XPEL Grand Prix.
Alex Palou, 6th win of the season. Your race had everything. Tell us how you guys did it today.
Oh, I don't know, man. It was a crazy race. It was a crazy race for us. At moments, I thought we were losing a ton of positions, and we were making. It was a tough race for everybody. But yeah, kudos to the team for the amazing strategy, and Honda, man, HRC. Being able to give us the fuel mileage we needed at the end to make it, and then solo cars. It was fun. It's a fun race, so couldn't be happier at the moment.
Are we going to see a good party with these red solo cups tonight?
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure we're going to have some fun, and everybody should.
Congratulations, champ. Great job.
Thank you.
Podium with Meyer Shank for Felix Rosenquist. Strong drive. What was it like pushing to finish there?
It was great. It was going back and forth there. It was like commerce and goes through the race. We had great speed, though. We knew that after I messed up in qualifying, started 12, had really good pace. Sirius XM Honda was just phenomenal. And yeah, I think we deserved it. We had kind of bad luck the last two races. Haven't really had a good go. But yeah, good comeback now. It's been a while since I've been on the podium. I had to ask on the radio where to park the car. So it's a good thing. I feel like we're finally, we got what we deserved this year, and hopefully more to come this year.
First runner-up since late in 23. Felix Rosenquist trying to make this more of a habit.
The celebration has already started for Santino Ferrucci. An incredible run for you, and you could not have cut it any closer on fuel. Tell us about managing that fuel those last couple laps.
Man, all I can think about to myself was we're doing this for Marlene, right? And, they were counting down the laps, and I told Mike, listen, I got to focus because this is getting stressful. And, he let me drive. Honestly, crew did an amazing job, awesome job on stops. I stalled it too, so, even with the stall coming back and finishing the way we did was pretty amazing. And, like I said, this one goes to Marlene. So she was riding with us today. I'm very proud, and this one tastes a little bit sweeter.
Just how amazing is this team right now? That's 4 top 5s in a row.
And 2 podiums, so we're performing. We're back to where we were at the end of last year. I feel it. I got to get my qualifying performance up, but till then, I like padding my points for passing.
That finished on the podium this past Sunday. So, fellas, I think we've pretty much covered the Road to America race, obviously, from every angle possible. So I think it's time to close the book on that, and we will shift gears here as our time winds down for this episode of the Push to Pass podcast. But before we close things up, I know Michael has been anticipating this since I sent him the episode, what it was going to look like. I sent both of you, obviously, on Monday, the news and notes section of the show. And the first thing, just to get it out of the way, because, again, I know Michael is obviously chomping at the bit to discuss this. And I know, obviously, Josh will have some good commentary on it as well. A little bit of radio controversy, per se, maybe. I don't know if controversy is the right word. But 2 weekends ago at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the young Nolan Siegel. Now, Nolan is obviously not even young enough to drink yet or have an adult soda, as they say in some shows. But Nolan Siegel used some very colorful language, let's say, on the radio to discuss a certain team. So kids, if you are listening to this, you may want to step away here for the next 30 seconds because there's going to be some colorful language coming from the young Nolan Siegel.
Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You fucking takes me out last race and he gets to fucking continue? No. Fuck that shit. Tell 10's gonna go fuck themselves. I want you to talk to them about that penalty. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, 10-4. 10-4. We'll deal with it after the race.
Was it right fucking now?
All right. Michael, you were the one that first brought this to myself and Josh's attention. So I'm going to let you have the first crack at this now. I know a little bit of what Michael's going to say. I don't know the whole thing. He wanted to have a emergency podcast the night after this happened, but I let him sit on it for a little bit. I let him stew on it. But Michael, I'll let you take the lead on this.
Well, it's probably a good thing. It's funnier hearing it now, but let me tell you something. We talk all the time about passion. We want to see passion. We want to see the emotion from these drivers. And this is it. This is the emotion we want. I mean, this is a young driver who, let's see. I wish you got the video of the penalty, because the penalty is absolutely garbage. I mean, Nolan Siegel has every right to be upset. What I'm more upset about is that his team didn't back him up. Arrow McLaren put out this crappy statement, and, I probably should have got the bleep button out for me because something might slip out here, but that team put out this stupid, we're sorry, our drivers need to be. No, that's crap. That is crap. These drivers are in an emotional state of mind going 100+ miles an hour, and he had every right to be mad. That call was horrible. And when it comes again from a Penske driver, that makes it 10 times worse. And this is why the officiating in this series needs to be given away to an outside source that has no direct connection with Team Penske or the Penske organization, because those kind of calls are crap. That guy was fighting to stay on the lead lap, and yeah, he ran McLaughlin down the track. He didn't put him in the grass. He just moved him down the track. And McLaughlin had to make a pass on him. Wow, I'm glad that Scott actually did something that race, because he hasn't done much this season besides crash cars. So, this is a topic that absolutely grinds my gears. Let these drivers vent on a radio, and listen, if fans are going to hear it, fans want to hear it. Fans pay subscriptions to listen to this stuff. I mean, NASCAR charges a subscription to listen to this stuff. Formula One has their F1 TV that you pay, I forget, it's like $11 and some change after tax for that service. So you can listen to these drivers, and we want that passion. We talk all the time on this podcast, and I hear it on other podcasts, and we hear people, we want to see the emotion. We want the passion. We want to know these drivers. This is knowing Nolan Siegel. He's mad. Great. He's a 19. Is he 19 or 20? I don't know. He's under 21. We know that. He is angry. Great. I want to know that he's angry. That probably makes him drive better. How many times, I don't know if a lot of our viewers watch Formula One, but how many times does Max Verstappen get mad and he drives better? Sometimes that's what fires up a driver. And I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but this is absolute garbage that his team didn't back him up. The team should have never put out a statement, and Nolan shouldn't have come out with one either.
It's like I always say, IndyCar does not want any controversy. They don't want anything negative, even though any press is good press. Like you said, the people that tune into that get on these drivers' radio waves, they love to hear that. If I had a scanner and I found I was scanning and heard all this, I would stick with that for the rest of the race, just listening to it, just to see what else he says. I mean, we've heard, like you said, we've heard other drivers from different race circuits, racing. Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart are very, very popular for their antics on the radio. So for him to be that passionate, and his team, like Michael said, and his team not back him up and go do what he wants at that particular point. I mean, it's just, to me, that's a lack of not leadership, but lack of teamwork. You got to go. If your driver's asking you to go do something, don't just tell them we'll get to it now. We'll get to it later. No, you go do it now. Go figure out why this happened, And I mean, the fact that it was against Penske cars is just makes it even better. And that he had the cojones to come out and on the radio and call out the Penske team was hilarious to me. I love seeing this.
A couple takeaways that I had from what Nolan Siegel did. First and foremost, I am in 100%. If you've watched any episode of this show, you know where I stand when it comes knowing and seeing the passion of the drivers. So I am 100% in agreement with what Michael said. I want to see the raw emotion. I want to see passion. That's going to bring ratings. Why IndyCar does not understand that, why the old curmudgeons don't understand that, I have no idea, and I'll never have an idea. So I stand with what Nolan Siegel did. It was the heat of the moment, and he's getting his point across. I mean, I'm sure people that have watched this show in the heat of the moment or to get their point across may have used or let a cuss word slip here and there. Did you apologize for it? Absolutely not. It was the heat of the moment, and you meant what you meant. So I stand with Nolan Siegel 100% about this. My second takeaway is this. Let me ask this. If this was, I don't know, Dale Coyne, that Nolan Siegel was pissed at and told Dale Coyne to go fuck off, would this be an issue?
That's a great question. It really is. Is it more of a, wow, this was directed towards a Team Penske situation? Or is it, we just don't like the language he used? That's the bigger question. That the statement that Arrow McLaren, I had to reread it again because it's really just some generic statement I think they put into Chat GPT to generate, because it sounds so like monotone. It's absolutely horrible that they even put this out. But yeah, that is a great question.
Oh, if 100%, if it wasn't for the fact that he was calling out one of the big teams, especially it being Penske, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But IndyCar is just censoring. Like I just keep saying, IndyCar is censoring their drivers. They don't want any personality. They want good personality. They don't want any negative personalities, which negative sells sometimes. He's a 19 or 20-year-old kid that's in the heat of the moment going off on something that he feels he was wronged about. I don't blame him. He's got a temper, and that's awesome. That's probably going to make him drive a little bit better, I hope.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely to see how Nolan Siegel handles himself moving forward after this. We did get some news this week, even though it's a little bit down the road, but we did get some news that the NTT INDYCAR Series is preparing to introduce an innovative new car. Unfortunately, this car is not going to be put in place till 2028. I know Nicole touched on this earlier. Josh, Michael, your thoughts on the NTT INDYCAR Series introducing a new car? Unfortunately, it's not till 2028.
I'm not really the technical type of person. I don't know what's wrong with the current chassis. I mean, that's probably more up Michael's alley. If it's a lighter chassis, if it's a better one, I can't wait. I don't know why they're waiting another 3 years to roll it out. But we're always looking for innovation, and 3 years from now, the other cars in other circuits are going to be far advanced to what IndyCar has.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I seen the best tweet not too long ago about the current car. They said that if they don't produce a new car soon, Dan Weldon's kids will be driving the car their father tested for IndyCar. That's how old this car is. And that it's the reason it's called DW12 is because it came out in 2012. No other racing series has a car that old. And the technical side of it is kind of what me and Nicole were talking about is we're taking parts that weren't designed for this race car and kind of squeezing them in where they don't necessarily belong. More importantly, we're talking about the hybrid, and they add so much weight. So the newer car is supposed to be, I believe it was between 70 and 85 pounds lighter. So that will kind of take away some of that hybrid weight. Why it's taking so long, who knows? And how different will it look? I don't know. Another thing is how much more will the aero screen be redesigned? That would be my big thing, because I know that brought a lot of weight, and I know a lot of drivers were frustrated when that first come along, and I advocate for the aero screen, just so everyone knows.
Oh, definitely. Ask Joseph Newgarden at Worldwide Technology Raceway how the aero screen worked for him. Kyle Moyer back in the news. Obviously, didn't take him long to find a new gig. It was announced that Kyle Moyer has been hired by Arrow McLaren, and he will start his new digs with Arrow McLaren on the Nolan 6 NTT data team, and he will replace legend Tony Kanaan as Nolan Siegel's strategist. So Nolan Siegel definitely getting a bump up when it comes to strategists, and Kyle Moyer, who obviously comes over from Team Penske. Thoughts on Kyle Moyer joining Arrow McLaren?
Congrats to Nolan Siegel picking up
Oops, let's try that again. Josh, you got cut off there at the end. What was the last statement?
Oh, just congrats to him. Nolan Siegel's getting a well-respected person, I would imagine, and congrats to him.
You know, Derik, I think me and you talked about this. Is we knew someone was going to pick him up. Why I was questioning why there wasn't such a more of like a long-term suspension placed on him, to where he got fired in mid-May, and now we're mid-June, and he's been hired by a big competitor of Penske, and I mean, it's not like he's switching manufacturers or anything like that. And he was willpower strategist for years. So, I mean, he's a proven winner. So he's only going to elevate Arrow McLaren. And this is no disrespect to Tony Kanaan, but Tony Kanaan is a race car driver. He's not a strategist. So, and while he's learned a lot while doing it, this Kyle Moyer is coming over, and he is definitely, well capable of producing winning race cars and winning strategies. So why there wasn't more of like a long-term suspension placed on these three, executives from Penske is something, that would have, outside of our pay grade for sure, but why it wasn't brought up the chain of command more is something, because basically it gets fired, gets hired, and now he's off. What's he gonna tinker with over at Arrow McLaren? That's the big questions now that everyone's going to be asking it. So it's just going to be a kind of a gray cloud, if especially the big thing is if Nolan Siegel starts creeping into the top 10, top 5 week in and week out, it's going to raise some eyebrows for sure.
Yeah, definitely no repercussions for Kyle Moyer and all of the things he did within the past year or so over at Team Penske. But like I said, Eric McLaren swoops in, and now he's going to be on the number 6 team. Last news item that I have before we draw a close to the show. B numbers. I know we talked a little bit with that about what Nicole while she was on, but we'll go over it in a little bit of greater detail here. Fox did release the viewership numbers for the last weekend's NTT INDYCAR Series race, the XPEL Grand Prix of Road America. And fellas, if you're a Fox Sports executive, I don't see how this was a great day for you. According to Fox Sports, only an average of 781,000 viewers tuned in on Sunday to watch Alex Palou collect his 6th win of the season, which is down from 863,000 viewers last year on NBC, even though the race started later in the afternoon and was held a bit earlier in June. And this also snaps a 2-week stretch of races that drew over 1 million viewers coming out of the Indianapolis 500. Fox Sports viewership overall remains up 33% compared to the viewership NBC and Peacock received through the first 9 races in the 2024 season. So, fellas, Fox Sports maybe didn't deliver on the ratings that they thought they would deliver on this past weekend at Road America.
Yeah, they may not have delivered, but they're still looking at that 33% bump so far this year from what NBC / Peacock did last year. So I think they're still kind of happy. It was a Sunday race. It was 1:30. I'm trying to think. I don't think there was anything really going on big time, sports wise during that time. So I can't use that as an excuse of why they would have lost some viewers. But even though there's a heat wave going through America, right, going through the United States right now. So some people may have been out and about and doing other stuff during the day that may have been attributed to it. But that 33% bump is what I would imagine what Fox is looking at right now so far.
Okay, so Fox is probably happy with the numbers, and I'm gonna give you a reason why. And NASCAR was also down quite a bit. And Adam Stern put this tweet out. He said, sports events this past Sunday faced much stiffer competition from news channels than they did the prior years, likely due to the Middle East situation. With CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and Newsmax averaging a combined 4.21 million viewers from noon till 6 p.m. versus 1.86 million last year. So that is definitely, and this is no offense to IndyCar fans, but IndyCar fans are older. And what do older people like to do? We like to watch the news. I'm one of those people. So they like to watch the news. NASCAR, their ratings were down quite a bit as well. So I feel like that's probably what Fox is looking at. Like, okay, there's a lot of tension that was going on TV, and that was a big thing going on in the world. So I would say that's probably a big part of what happened with the ratings. While it does look bad, if you just look at those numbers and it without your, if you have your blinders on, you don't look at the wide scape of things.
Yeah, I seen that point by Adam Stern earlier today. Great point by him. All right, the checkered flag is waving. That tells me that another episode of the Push to Pass podcast has come to an abrupt end. Before we get out of here, Josh, Michael, anything else that you want to comment or expand on before we get to the show closer?
No, I'm good. We're on the home stretch and got a handful of races to go, and love to see how this finishes out.
Yeah, just ready for the next race, 4th of July weekend at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Yeah, definitely get a well-deserved break this weekend. And then, like Michael said, over the 4th of July weekend, the NTT INDYCAR Series picks back up at the Mid-Ohio Honda, I believe it is, or it's the Honda 250 at the Mid-Ohio Sports Complex in Lexington, Ohio. So again, like I said, that does it for another episode of the Push to Pass podcast. Huge thank you to Nicole of the Orange Flag podcast. Go check that out. Also, again, huge thank you to everybody that tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, and X and or Twitter. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to all of those platforms. And also, last but certainly not least, a huge thank you out to Josh and Michael, as always, for joining me here every week on Tuesdays on the Push to Pass podcast. So for myself, Josh, Michael, and everyone else that makes up the Push to Pass podcast, we will come back now. Josh and Michael will be back here next week. I am going to be on a prior commitment, so I will not be here next week, but these two will, to talk and discuss, analyze, and preview the race coming up at Mid-Ohio. So until then, in 1 week's time, so long, everybody.
I thought he deserved more than a P20 today, I got to say. I was impressed with Graham today. Santino needs some water as well.
The tap went off. He wanted to get it before all the water was gone. He said, throw me a beer. Look at that.
It is.
Woo!
Little post-race hydration there. He's got to make it back. He's got champagne waiting for him at the podium.
Yeah, but that's got to taste so good.
Oh, absolutely.
The celebration has already started for Santino Ferrucci. An incredible run for you, and you could not have cut it any closer on fuel. Tell us about managing that fuel those last couple laps.
Man, you know, all I can think about to myself was we're doing this for Marlene, right? And, you know, they were counting down the laps, and I told Mike, listen, I got to focus because this is getting stressful. And, you know, he let me drive. Honestly, crew did an amazing job, awesome job on stops. I stalled it too, so, you know, even with the stall coming back and finishing the way we did was pretty amazing. And, you know, like I said, this one goes to Marlene. So she was riding with us today. I'm very proud, and, yeah. This one tastes a little bit sweeter.
Just how amazing is this team right now? That's 4 top 5s in a row.
And 2 podiums. So, yeah, no, we're performing. We're back to where we were at the end of last year. I feel it. I got to get my qualifying performance up. But till then, I like padding my points for passing.
The celebration has started. Shotgunning a beer with the fans down by turn 1 where the car sat because they cut it that close on fuel.